All right, back again. Let's talk about scapegoat. Scapegoating, being used as a scapegoat, and just how effective and well this particular thing plays out. Right? And for those of you who don't know the term of what scapegoat is or scapegoating, it's evolved into a metaphor for blaming an individual or a group of people for problems that they are not fully or directly responsible for. Right? So scapegoating is very common, especially amongst narcissists. It's one thing that gets used, in early situations. This could be family situations, as well as if you're in a relationship or whatever. Now, behind the person who is, manipulating this and making you out as the scapegoat, they know how to keep information and stuff away from you, right? Usually, if you're the scapegoat, you're going to be singled out, where it can be made to look like you're the favorite, but you're not. You're just the most reliable or the most responsible or the most caring one that they know they have around them. Right? And so basically, scapegoating, when we look at the psychological mechanisms of it, scapegoating is a process where an individual, like I said, or group, entity, whatever, they're unfairly blamed for problems or the conflicts or the failures of that individual. It serves as a coping mechanism for that person or that organization or whatever, right? They can avoid facing complex issues. They can relieve collective tension. They can maintain group cohesion by uniting against one common enemy. Now, that's important to think about, because while they isolate you, right, and it could be parental figure, again, or if you're in a relationship, or if it's a sibling, whatever it may be, but a boss at a job or whatnot. It can happen in any type of situation. But we're talking about narcissists, and typically in a family dynamic or in a relationship dynamic. They are going to join sides. They have to keep other people in, right? Because the whole game, they're playing everyone else. And this is where some people mistake flying monkeys. In this instance, they could very well be a flying monkey, or they could just be subjected to the elaborate schemes of the narcissist, right? But anyway, you're going to be isolated. Everything that happens, they're going to put blame on you. They're going to tell stuff about how you're not doing, how you're mistreating them, what you're doing wrong for them, and so forth and so on. And they're going to tell all these other people that this is what you're doing, unbeknownst to you, because around you, when they speak about everything is fine, everything is perfect, all is well, they couldn't have asked for anybody better in their corner, right? So, but meanwhile, when the narcissist starts to mess up or fail, or they may have conflict with others that is in that circle, they can always lean back and say, it's because this person is doing this to me, or it's because this person did this to me, or this person is doing this to me and it's making me act and behave this way. So it makes the other people feel like and respond as though, well, it's not the narcissist, it's that person, it's the scapegoat that's the problem, right? The scapegoat is causing, it's not the narcissist, it's the scapegoat. This is how narcissists hide themselves. This is how they conceal themselves in the face of people. And they do a really good job at hiding this, right? And oftentimes, the person that's the scapegoat is usually, you know, they're pretty solid. They're like a pillar of strength, right? They may have a different, view on society, or they're pretty grounded, right? They're not easily swayed and moved. At least they're that concrete pillar, right? They're there to stay. Those are frequent. They're reliable. All the things I mentioned earlier. If you're that, these are the frequent scapegoats. And it's easy, it's a very convenient thing to assign blame to someone, external or defenseless, right? When you don't know about any of this going on. But now you got a slew of people hating you. You don't even know this. You don't even know you got people hating you, right? That's where the defenselessness comes in, and it's easy for them to do that. And the systemic problem or collective accountability issue within that is that these people who are narcissists, and a lot of people who use people as scapegoats, are unconsciously projecting their flaws, guilt, and fears onto the other person, the other party. Right? If you find yourself in this and you don't know, it can be damaging, because behind every person who's been a scapegoat, you're gonna run into the ultimate line of betrayal, right? Being a scapegoat has significant emotional and psychological consequences, right? I mean, you could be helping someone, being by their side, doing all it takes, but you want to hold them accountable, right? And that's part of your deal. And being there, you're constantly on them about accountability. Now, we know with narcissists, that's a no-no. They don't want that. They don't like that. And when they feel angered or mad, they go to others and talk about you mistreating them, you doing this to them, you doing that to them, right? So essentially, this is a way that they get others to attack you. Then others start coming at you in ways, and the scapegoat doesn't know, but the narcissist is basically saying this in a way like, don't tell them I said this, because the way that they are, I don't know what they'll do to me, or something like that, right? So now the people that they're, using to attack you are going to proceed cautiously, but they're going to be against you. They've just created a bunch of enemies for you that you are unaware of. When behind the person that is the problem is the very person that all these other individuals that's attacking the scapegoat, the person behind the problem is the narcissist. They're helping the actual problem. So the narcissist can ensure that they have a bunch of alliances. They have all these allegiance of this person's with them and that person's with them and that person sticks by them because they make people feel like, well, they need me to help them because this person who's the scapegoat is trying to take them down. They're doing this to this person and that's not right. Whole time, the scapegoat, you don't know anything about this. And you're still helping and assisting the narcissist, the very person who has riled up all of these people against you, who are thinking evil of you. Some people say evil eye, all this other stuff, right? But anyway, it's still energy. All of this is coming unwarranted. It's supposed to be going to the actual narcissist, but they've manipulated it to where it goes to the scapegoat. And this is why if you're a scapegoat, you can tell you'll have things, going wrong in your life. You won't know why. You'll have mishaps and misfortunes and, understand things that go wrong that you don't understand. Because you have the actual enemy right underneath you. And if you do get confronted by one of these other individuals that the scapegoat deals with, and they start saying anything that you're doing, you're like, wait, it's not true. The narcissist is going to lie. And the narcissist is going to jump right back in your corner and defend and be like, I didn't do that. They're lying. I don't even talk to them like that. And depending on just how much emotionally invested you are with that narcissist or whatnot, or the person that's doing this, you may write it off and want to believe them. But keep in mind, people don't just come and attack you and accuse you without reason. Someone is behind something stirring up some type of commotion. There's some type of manipulation going on somewhere, especially if you're not doing anything. And this is why narcissists keep the scapegoat away from everyone else. They make sure not to have you around any of the people who they say they're not dealing with. On the flip side, they're telling you about how bad those people are to them, right? They're telling you how they create this buffer, this comfort shield, to where you're the main source of supply, really. The one that they can most rely on. All the other ones are secondary sources, but they're still backups. It gives them this sense of having a shield, basically, to be comforted. If any of the outside sources, they get into it with them, it doesn't really matter. As long as they don't lose you, right? And you would say, well, why would they try to go against the scapegoat? And why would they even do that? Why would they even risk that? Why would they risk getting all these people against the scapegoat? Scapegoating provides a safe target, at least. It allows the aggressor, the actual problem, the person that's actually the problem, to avoid addressing the real source of their frustration, right? Projection, which, that was coined by Sigmund Freud. What his outlook on it was, people unconsciously project their negative qualities or guilt onto others to reduce their discomfort. All right. And so when you begin to understand scapegoating as a harmful and unfair process, that's the first step towards breaking the cycle, because you have to promote accountability. You have to encourage to that individual. They have to have honest self-reflection, which we know the narcissist isn't going to do, rather than blame shifting and putting things onto other people. Scapegoating, it's a deeply ingrained behavior just within human history in general. And it has a lot of destructive consequences for individuals that have been scapegoated. Because ultimately, it gets revealed. And the person behind it, this is why it's paramount that they keep you separated, is because when they're figured out, you being that rock, that pillar of support, once you go, everything's gone. But see, another reason, those frustrations that I spoke about, when they have them with you, instead of them coming to you and addressing it and changing certain things that you may have had required of them, by setting healthy boundaries, and they don't want to do that, they voice their frustration to the outside sources of people, and they speak of you in a very negative way when they do, although you've done nothing wrong to them. And that for them, it's like, well, the narcissist can say, well, nothing's really wrong with you, because people are going to reassure and comfort the narcissist, where you're not going to do that because you're setting standards and boundaries. This is one of the ways that you become a scapegoat. When you set boundaries and you stand on that and you're strong within that, you're going to end up being a scapegoat somehow, some way. You have to be able to recognize it when it does happen to you. And ultimately setting a firm boundary between you and the narcissist or the person who's doing it. Take yourself out of the equation. That strong, reliable rock dependency that they had, being you, now has removed themselves out of the equation. Now all they have is the other people to deal with. You're not dealing with them anymore. And once they have to make one of those people their go-to, they're going to start seeing as well that, oh, it wasn't probably just them. It was the narcissist. But at that time, it's too late, because a lot of the things that people do that have been participants in attacking the scapegoat, they've crossed lines too. So this is where I say where the destruction and everything comes in, and how damaging it is. Well, ultimately, a lot of people get cut off permanently. It's too much of a mess to deal with. So anyway, that's all I have to say for this message, folks. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, or at least consider doing that. Until next time, have a good one. Take care.